you where you been. I could show you incredible things. Magic, madness, heaven, sin. Saw you there and I thought, oh my God, look at that face. You look like...
Well, I would define racism as like any discrimination based on someone's race.
That's a big question. I think there are a lot of different ways to look at it, but I think in the general sense, it's really looking at someone's genetic makeup, particularly the way that their skin looks, the way that they're what would be classified as race in some regards, and someone mistreating someone based on that, or someone not allowing them to really not allowing them to do certain things because of the way that they look. And I think and I hesitate because it's such a big question and so much there, because I think there's the historical context. There's also what we see today, in a lot of situations where someone may look a certain way, but that may not necessarily be their genetic makeup and really their ethnic background. So I think there are some nuances there, so it is a little challenging. But I think in the general sense, it's the way that someone looks and someone being mistreated because of that. I think so. I think there are a lot of different ways of looking at it. I think it looks a lot different than it may have looked in the 50s and 60s, and even before then. But I think there are two main ways that I would look at it. One is institutional racism, where you're looking at the systems that are in place. You're looking at government policies that may unproportionately affect a certain group of people. But then also you have that personal piece as well, where someone is maybe a product of their environment. Maybe it's not something that's necessarily intentional, but maybe not being exposed to certain types of people you may have, or an individual may have certain perspectives of those people. And I think because of that, you have certain stereotypes, and oftentimes we as people, we make decisions based off of the things that we believe and feel, which often can be stereotypes. I think my family determines my food preference. So I like soul food, I like greens and chicken and all that other stuff, and people will probably say all black people like chicken, but that's not true. But I think it's your family of origin that determines that to a great extent. But I think culturally, you start bringing in culture in that regard too. I know that there's some, I just look at my own self, some African Americans that are from the Northeast that they grew up eating porridge and oatmeal, and I grew up down south and I ate grits and scrambled eggs, So I think geography comes into play, culture comes into play, but then also your family of origin, the way you were raised. So I think it can be. I think any type of stereotyping, whether it be someone's ethnic makeup, their racial background, or even their socioeconomic status. I think we can attach stereotypes to groups of people based on some of their backgrounds, and particularly in some of those areas. I didn't. I think it. I think definitely. I've heard stereotypes. Obviously, you look at any mainstream media, you see stereotypes of different people, whether it be someone from the United States or not, even people from different parts of the world. But personally, I think I was very aware of the different dynamics that that my family and people in my family faced in the South. But then also really trained and really taught that we treat people fairly, and that goes back to my personal faith and realizing that only true reconciliation can come through, for me, a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. And I firmly believe that that God is a God of reconciling man to man and man to Him. And I think the history that we have as a country, the history we have as a world, really we need Jesus, and that's more of one additional reason why we need a Savior. Just the issues that we've had in our country and in our world. I have. My family's from the South, and I was born in an era, a few years after Jim Crow. The Jim Crow laws were abolished or had begun to be abolished, but there were very, very strong remnants of that still, where my family is from. Where I look around and you see back to that institutional piece where communities are segregated, and communities being a town and an area being segregated, obviously by some of the policies. You know, it was a policy in the 40s, 50s, and 60s called redlining, where individuals couldn't purchase homes in certain areas because of their race, of their ethnic makeup and their background. And I think for me personally, you know, being a product, you know, of the 70s and seeing some of those remnants, but then also personally, you know, being called certain names by people in not just in the South, but all over. Right. And then also, you know, obviously the things that I may have assumed even that may or may not have been accurate, but I've definitely been called names and mistreated before.
Drake, come on over here. Hey. Come sit. Hey. Did you just get out of class?
Yeah. Excited.
I got that nice one. Oh, yeah. Can we sit with you?
Yeah.
Hey, man. Good? Good? Good. How about you? Good?
Hey, can we sit with you guys?
Not for you.
But there's two seats like right here.
You can't sit here. You have to go. Bye.
Bye.
You want to sit over here?
Yeah.
Come on. Not much, just got out of class. How about you?
Just got outside.
What's up, buddy? Hey, come take a seat. You guys are good.
Good.
Cool.
Good, thanks for asking.
You look fine, so.
Hey.
Hey.
Can we sit with you guys?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's study.
You guys just get out of class?
Yeah.
Nice. That's good.
Where are you from?
Mexico.
Do you mow lawns?
Oh, no. How did you get here? Frontera. Yeah. I see.
Oh.
I see. You swim.
And this new North Face, and my Uggs, and I'm livid because my Uggs are dirty.
You're kidding. Wow. Why don't your dad just buy you something else?
Yes. Come on.
Kelsey, you want some Kool-Aid?
I got Starbucks, pretty good. She had a grande latte.
You know what that is?
It's that.
Yeah.
Grande latte.
You get that a lot?
Yeah.
Okay.
My dad owns Starbucks.
You're kidding.
No.
Are you just saying?
No.
John, you ever been to Starbucks? Yay. They speak the lawns.
Make the ground shake.